What is up, everybody? There is more than one way to sling or carry your rifle when you're in the woods out hunting. We've got a lot of them right here in front of us, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can see those. To help me unpack this great topic, I've got Eric Barber to my right, the Paul Neese across from me, and you know what? I'm going to start with me. I think that's the polite thing to do. Start usually with the guest. Start with yourself. So,
there you
go. One of those reasons, right here. The way I'm carrying this rifle, this is a Kafaru pack. It's an older Timberline 2. Actually, a really good pack. I've enjoyed it for a lot of years. This is the Kafaru Gun Bearer to go along with it. Carries the gun very comfortably. Carries it hands-free if you want to use it with trekking poles, things of that nature. Kind of clips into the webbing on the waist belt here. Easy deployment, very rapid deployment. But before I show how fast it is, the one kind of check minus, it's not giant, but I love this when I'm hunting by myself. It does tip the barrel, at least the way I've ran it. Maybe there's a better way to do it. There probably is. But a little bit forward. And so when I'm hunting with other people, I'm always very cognizant and worried that I'm going to flag somebody with the muzzle. I always carry it. If I have it in here and I'm hunting with other people, the gun is unloaded. You know, I don't have one in the pipe, but I still don't like it. You know, if you potentially, so that would be the one drawback. But as far as deployment, very fast. And actually, I'll say this. If I'm hunting by myself, I use this to my advantage because I'm actually able to, when I glass, I can cut my arm over the rifle scope right here, brace my binoculars right here, and it helps me stabilize my binoculars. So there's a plus there, too, if you are hunting by yourself.
For folks following along, the gun is unloaded, bolt is open, we got a muzzle flag in.
Yes, I had it in the chamber. It kept falling out.
Yep.
But we've confirmed that it's unloaded, pointed in a safe direction, not at Paul. And, but so it's got this little, clasp up front. You run it around the fore end of the barrel, and then, if you want to, you want to either remove the rifle or you just see something you want to shoot, very fast, pop that, and you're ready to shoot. So really cool system. I like it a lot. And, now Eric, kind of, I guess, in that same vein of concepts, I've had this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You just got a new system that I was kind of enamored with when you first showed it to me.
Yeah. So
let's see that.
Yeah, this is the Slick Sling from Creative Outdoors.
It looks pretty slick.
I believe that is the name of it. It's the company's out of Montana, small company. What I like about this a lot is similar, Mark, to yours and to a lot of backpack-mounted slings, is you have something that cradles the stock of the gun that goes right into your waist belt. What's a little bit different than Mark's is, unlike his that holds the barrel in front of his chest, this holds it alongside your shoulder just like a regular rifle sling would do. But what is different is you can see, I'll actually kind of go through the motions slow here. There is some webbing that goes around the barrel, through a little loop here, through a little keeper, and then back through another keeper. So for deployment on this is super easy. You just pop the webbing there, grab your barrel, sling comes off, and then the gun can be deployed right from that, and then you're ready to go. Putting it back in is also super slick. There you go.
Oh,
super easy.
Just like the name.
Yeah. Goes back into the stock keeper, goes around your back. You grab the webbing, which you just got to navigate. Go around the barrel.
Around your mic.
Yep, around your mic. Back in there. And you are back ready in action. What I like about it, though, one, super affordable, $20 sling, which is really cool. It also holds it really super tight. So, there isn't a whole lot of moving around that you can do that's going to shake that thing free. You know it's going to be there. The muzzle is also at a little bit better angle than what you've got there, Mark, being that it's just straight up in the air. So I like it a lot, $20, and integrates to basically any modern frame pack.
I like where that one carries too. It's kind of more where the rest of the load is,
Yep.
It just seems like it would feel good as
you
hike
hardly
through the
know
mountains.
it's there, which is really nice.
Yeah, it looks like a good system. It's a little. I can see it's a little because I run the same Kafaru system. It's on my pack, which is over there on the floor. But I run the same system Mark's got, and I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
that seems to work really well. It's a little bit slower watching you,
It
like
is.
put the gun back in the system,
Yep.
and probably very slightly slower to get it out.
Yep.
But it's pretty good. You know, I've run that Cafaro system for years too, and there are some times when having the barrel swinging in front of your face is just kind of distracting, and I've had times where, you know, on a steep incline or in brush where I've had the barrel bump me in the forehead a couple of times, and that's just probably set up on it. So there's some disadvantages to that too, but that looks like a really good system you've got there, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot. We have other slings on the table, and I guess to cover too with this, you'll know before we get into these, you'll notice that I do have a sling on the rifle, similar to Mark what you've got there.
You guys are redundant. You're covering the options. Yeah.
And I think the takeaway there is, you know, for folks that might be wondering like why you're doing that is, you know, you get in a situation where you drop your pack, you're going on a stalk, something like that. You still have that redundant option to use on a stalk or something like that, you know, when you want to keep the gun out of the way.
Well, you want to keep it out of the way, and like, you know, this is just like, it depends on where I'm at in the hunt process. Like if I know I've got a lot of ground to cover, maybe I want to get my trekking poles out, you know, I'll throw it in the gun bearer and I'm going to tote it that way. If I'm like actively hunting, the rifle is going to be either in my hands or a little bit more at the ready. And this is just, you know, can be a little bit versatile. I hunt off a bicycle a fair amount, and so I'm wrapped up in my cord here. But so oftentimes, you know, I'll put it around my back and then carry it, you know, so the rifle is around my back. So I do that a lot.
Big bike guy.
Big cyclist. Eric, I noticed talking about your sling. So the sling that's on your muzzleloader is the one that we have on the table here.
Sure.
I think this is the Quake Claw. Now, I've used that sling a fair amount. Does a really, really nice job. The other sling that I've used probably more is this Butler Creek. And I've actually, not to name names, like I said, this one's worked great. I've settled on this guy.
Sure.
Couple reasons. Number one, super comfortable. This probably neoprene type material. Very comfortable. It's also got a little bit of flex to it.
Looks nice and grippy too, which is important.
Yep, you got the kind of like the gripper dots on the bottom. But not only is it like comfortable on the shoulder, it's got some flex to it, and so it really moves with you. It absorbs shock. Really like this one, but a little more rigid. So maybe it depends on what you're looking for, but I've definitely settled on this one.
Yep.
I'll just jump into I think everybody's kind of familiar with these shoulder slings, and we've got some different options here. You know, this is kind of a real classic one, but it's not really all that practical. You know, the problem with these, are very slippery. It looks great on an old woodstock rifle, but it's probably the least practical of the slings here.
That's more of like a traditional
leather. Someone who really wants that look to it, but there are some trade-offs to it. It looks nice, but it's probably not the easiest to carry. I use a sling like this a lot, which is just a very simple heavy Cordura. There's no pad. It's just kind of a minimalistic setup. Issues with this primarily is it can be slippery, especially if you are, as Mark's doing there, you've got a pack on your back. This kind of wants to walk off your shoulder all the time. So it's, having a pad like this is helpful for that. And then this is just a variation of what Mark's got, just a very, very, very lightweight, minimalistic little bit of a pad, but not really grippy. But the other one I primarily use is what you see here in this Everly stock pack, and it's a scabbard that's part of the pack. So the rifle loads through the top, comes through here, drops in, and then it carries with the stock sticking out the back. And that is a really nice way to carry a rifle too. It really gets it completely out of your way. You don't really know you've got it, other than that stock is sticking up over your head. The drawbacks to it, it's you can't access as readily as these systems. You can, if you get good at it, you can actually manage to lift the thing straight up. But it's not all that easy, and it'll bind up on you a lot.
You got to be a little bit more careful with this one when you sit down too.
That too. That being said, if you're gonna cover long distances and you're gonna have no use for the rifle, you're just you've got 10 miles to cover and you want to hoof it. This works pretty good. There's no straps, there's no nothing. It's just drop it in there and go.
Cool.
So it's got its time and place too on that type of a setup.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
mean, even just looking back at the Vortex Extreme years ago, that was a system that I probably saw more than anything else.
Yeah,
and
yeah. You probably saw this exact pack out
Yep,
there.
Yep.
exactly. Lots of those.
Yeah, I've got an older. I think they still make it. Maybe they don't. The Eberly Dragonfly J107, and it has that scabbard on there, and I used that for a number of years for general hunting use. But then, yeah, for like that competition, it definitely
Yeah.
fit the bill. Paul, maybe talk a little bit about we talked about these slings that attach to your rifle. There's a couple different ways they attach, and I noticed we got, I guess, the traditional sling swivel stud on most of them, but it looks like you have some quick connects over there.
Right. This is a system used on lots of nice custom stock rifles, and it's called a flush cup. So it has a cup that's inset into the stock, and then this just pushes in there. And when you push the button on the end, it releases these ball bearings, and it'll go in, and then it locks until you push the button and come out.
Okay.
So it's nice. You can see, they're heavy, they're tough, they're very well built. It leaves a very nice, clean setup on the rifle. The cup is just almost flush with the surface of the stock, so they work really well. It's a nice system, and you'll see that again on a lot of the high-end custom stocks.
I feel like I've always run more of the traditional sling swivels here, and my only pet peeve with them is every now and then they'll start to rotate out a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
they do. And that is the one thing that is a little unsettling, especially if you're walking a lot, or you never know how far that thing is rotated if you do see a little bit of that.
It's something that I actually stay cognizant of. Like it's something that I check every now and again, and usually it's no more than about a half turn off, but you can see where if you didn't keep track of it.
Yeah, I've complete on those Kafarus a lot of times out because I hunt almost exclusively with a pack on my back. Very rarely do I not have the pack, so I usually don't have a shoulder sling on the stock, and I've had the butt pin actually rotate and come completely out just from the contact with the cup on the bottom of the
sure.
Oh, no
holder.
kidding.
Yeah, just the back and forth of walking, and it'll slowly spin that stud right out of there. So I've had it twice. That's happened to me. So
pro tip: check
beware of it if you're not running a shoulder sling.
For sure. Now I know I've used my sling to hold my rifle a lot, but I've also used it to shoot my rifle more stable offhand. Now I'm sure that's something you've done a little bit of over the years, Paul. So maybe touch on that a little bit.
Well, that's where a sling like this actually works pretty well. It's easy to run. Twist your arm through.
That's the more kind of like straight nylon webbing,
straight
minimalist
nylon.
one.
You don't have a big shoulder pad. That shoulder pad, if you try to spin your arm through it, it's going to get in your way a little bit. And so a sling like this sometimes might work a little bit better for that. And it's definitely it's a good point, Mark. I mean, you can stiffen yourself up shooting offhand by wrapping your arm through that sling.
So and critique at will, Paul. But I'm going to close the bolt. It's empty. I have physically checked it to run this bolt. Now it's on safe. But if I was going to take a quick shot offhand, where not a quick shot offhand, a shot offhand where that's what the situation required.
Yep.
But maybe you just want to be as accurate as possible, as we always do, or maybe it's a little bit longer offhand shot. I mean, I would just wrap my arm right there. That really locks it in nice for me.
That's pretty much
Obviously,
the motion.
I can't get as close to the rifle because of the headset here, but
yeah, and it looks like the shoulder pad really isn't getting too much in your way there. So
no, I haven't found it to be a burden at all.
Yeah, no, it's definitely someone everybody should understand if you're using a sling to do that. It's quick and easy to do, and it'll make you a little bit steadier on the shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I like your qualifier there, Mark, too, whereas like an offhand shot isn't always just a fleeting quick thing. Sometimes it might be elevation or
tall grass,
something that requires you to actually stand up and shoot offhand.
Yeah.
So
obviously only take shots you're comfortable and confident in.
Yep. But that's a way to get
every hunter should be out in practice shooting offhand. I mean, inevitably you will have that situation come up. So.
Well, and you won't. I guess we're getting into probably a whole other 10-minute talk, heck, a full podcast on offhand shooting. But with anything, the more you practice, the better you're going to be at. And I think that offhand shooting is something a lot of us don't like to practice because you want to be at the range. You want to be as precise as possible.
Yeah, you want to shoot nice tight groups.
Yep, exactly.
It's not quite so easy when you're shooting offhand.
So maybe using your sling can be the catalyst for doing a little more practice offhand.
Perfect.
Another lightweight one that we have here. This is not on the pack, but this is very similar to the gun bearer or the system that Eric has, and this is just one from Stone Glacier that integrates into their pack. So very, very flyweight, minimalist, and but you're going to want to integrate it with that pack system.
I should point out too the Kifaru system, that's adaptable to any pack.
Yep.
It's not. I know Mark's got it on a Kifaru pack there, but they make different methods of attaching to the waist belt on mine. And so any pack you've got, you can run that system on.
So I mean, and I'd say that they're all good. I mean, there's probably a few here that I like better than others, but definitely some of it's going to be catering it to how you are hunting.
Absolutely.
Did we leave anything out in our 10-minute-ish talk on hunting rifle slings?
No, I would just be sure everything's in good shape before you put it on there. If you've ever had a sling pop and break and the rifle come flipping down and hitting the ground, it's not a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
So be sure your connections are good. The strap's in good shape. That the latch is latched on the end of it, and it's no fun having that rifle hit the ground. I've done it before. So.
Yep. Last thing I would add is being cognizant of how high the rifle is in the sling. Like this one is about perfect. I like it that the barrel's like just a little bit above my head. I would never want it set up in a way where the barrel is lower than your head.
Yep.
Just kind of a redundancy and safety, more or less. I mean, heaven forbid you would ever get caught on something and the gun would discharge. If that would happen and you have the gun set up as kind of shown here, the barrel's above your head and keeping you safe and kind of in the clear.
Yep.
Yeah. And as Mark pointed out with the Kifaru, you do, especially I've noticed that too hiking with guys, if you have to bend over for whatever it is, going through brush or something, you really have to be aware of the fact that now you're bringing that gun down horizontal and it's pointing. So hopefully you don't have somebody walking in front of you when you're doing that.
Yeah, and I think it's just, again, a good, safety. Depending on what system you have here, you may want to carry your rifle unloaded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I mean, just and that might be something that you have to do, and it might be kind of a pain in the butt to do. Like, oh, now we're doing this, so I'm going to unload my gun, but probably something to be cognizant of there as well. So, very cool, guys. Well, thank you for joining me for this 10-minute-ish talk on slings. We're still sub 20. That's always the goal here. And how have you been carrying your slings? What slings do you use? Is there a system that you like here that we didn't chat about? Let us know in the comments. You guys are the biggest providers of the topics that we cover here on the Vortex Nation podcast.
Exactly. So, and we're always out to learn new things too. So
absolutely. So all right, thanks everybody for listening. Thank you guys again. We'll see you on the next one.